Hey, what's up everybody? Bionic here, and welcome back to another Bionic bootleg review, the final Bionic bootleg review of the wave of 9 knockoff figures I got, Iron Man. Now, before we take a look at the man who started it all, let's take a look at his recolors and new pieces. So here's all of Iron Man's main recolors. I'm pretty sure there are some recolors in some of the rest of the build, but we will touch on that as we get to it when we look at Iron Man himself. I'm pretty certain this is a recolor. Objection! I don't think I've ever seen a dark red torso shell just in person or on Bricklink or so. I believe this is also a recolor, a dark red foot piece. We have dark red thigh armor, which is really cool and I'm very happy about. We also have gold shoulder pads, which I've been waiting so long for. So glad to finally have them. I've always really wanted them. I wanted to use them in the COD finale, but I never really got to because I didn't have the figure by then. Dark red hand pieces. This is a proper dark red and not the kind of weird brownish dark red from Groot, so that's nice. And then gold shin pieces, which we have seen with Thanos and some other figures in the past, but it's still a recolor in terms of actual Lego is concerned. So very nice, very happy to have that as well. Now for new prints, which is also a recolor, we have this really cool Star Wars chest plate, which is designed to look like an Iron Man chest, which I love. I think that's awesome. Very nice. And then we have this, which is some Technic panels. I didn't want to take all this junk off, but this I'm pretty sure is probably also a recolor in the gold color. But it is painted to look like Iron Man's chest plate. It goes over top, and then it's got the same paint scheme and details, but the gold is replaced with the red and vice versa. Not bad. The arc reactor obviously isn't there, which is a little bit disappointing. I think I like this overall better than having this, but this is very cool for mocking, so I'm very happy to have that in general. And lastly, we have the Spanish Tony Stark head, which is really gross. The eyes, if you look at those, are printed really funky and just not very well done in general. He looks very cross-eyed. He's looking in two different directions. He looks like a chameleon or something. That's very funny. He has sculpted Tony Stark facial hair, but it's not painted. Maybe if I paint that, it'll look better. But as it stands right now, it's just not very good. And he's got the hair. I think it might be, no, it's different from Superman's, but they could have easily just reused the same hair for both of them. But glad they didn't. And so yeah, that's Tony Stark's weird chameleon-eyed head. Now let's get on to Tony Stark's design, and we will cover some of the other pieces that I believe to be recolors as we go through. So starting from the ground up with the legs, very simple. We got the feet, shins, and then the 2 pinhole open ball joint in bone and black. And we got thigh armor and the 1 pinhole, bone in gray with some friction extenders in the hips. Covering the arm real quick, because the torso is going to take a little while, we have the vertical axis ball joint with the ball in the middle in gray with a 4-long armor shell, and then the open ball joint with a ball in the middle bone in black with a 4-long armor shell and the fist. And the torso, I believe, is the same design for the most part as Baze Malbus's torso. So let's kind of deconstruct this a little bit. We'll kind of pop some stuff out of here to show you what I believe are some of these recolors. So I believe this is a recolor, but I don't know. Like I said, not like I said in Captain America's review, not big on system. Not 100% certain. But so here's some of these pieces that I believe to be recolors. So this, pretty sure that's a recolor. This piece right here that has the built-in pin and then goes up and has an axle hole right there as well. Pretty sure that's a recolor. Those are very cool. Very glad to have those red Technic pieces, which is very nice. You get 4 of these, the pinhole with the axle on the end. There's 2 on either side, and then 2 more on either side, which is very nice. And then, like I said, I believe those other system pieces to be recolors as well, but I'm not 100% certain, so don't quote me on that. Now, the rest of the back is pretty basic. Obviously, it's mostly all the complexity is in that build to assemble the shoulder pads and the extra chest. And then he has some bones in the back right here that go up and then attach to this arm, which has open ball joint, 1 ball in the middle bone with a gold 3 long on the end, and a hand connector, and then a little turret piece. So that's kind of cool. This is funny. Everything flops down when you hold it upside down. It's kind of funny. So yeah, not too bad. Probably one of the more elaborate torsos out of the ones we've seen. I think probably the most elaborate would be Thanos, but this probably is second best in terms of complexity, I guess. And instead of having a friction extender in his neck, Tony has a the smallest size of bone piece, and then his head, which is really weird, and it makes his neck really long. If you look from where the shoulder is right here to the neck way up there, it's kind of ridiculous and really gross. So I think later listings of this figure on AliExpress and such include a recolored Iron Man helmet from the official Marvel CCBS waves. Mine did not come with that, unfortunately, but I believe it would have been recolored in dark red. So instead, I'm just going to show you guys what it looks like with an official Lego CCBS Iron Man helmet on this figure. Wow, that is not a pretty sight. Wow. Now on to Tony's articulation. Pretty basic, obviously, besides some later stuff. So foot moves around normally, knee bends not very far, unfortunately, because of the bone size. Hips can go about there before they really start going out to the side. Back can go about right there before it has to go out to the side. The arms, shoulders can go up fairly far. If you move the shoulder pad out of the way, it gets about stuck right there. But it can go around to about there, and then back about there, probably farther. Yeah, if you move the arm cannon out of the way. Elbow bends about 90 degrees, front and back. And then the wrist can do all sorts of normal bionicle wrist articulation. The shoulder pads, I guess this counts as a point of articulation, can go up and down, but they kind of pretty much just flop the entire time. So this one kind of, obviously it's a knockoff piece, so some tolerances may vary, but this one likes to stop right there and then give it a nudge and it will go. But neck articulation, since there's 2 joints in there, you can kind of shimmy the head back a little bit, and then you can bring it forward way over the chest plate. You can tilt it on that, and then you can tilt the head and then do the same, or you could like do something like this, or you could say bring it back or bring it forward and to the side. And yeah, it's just got a wide variety of, you can do all sorts of not natural movements with this. Let me see. You can kind of get him to shove his head under like a turtle or something, look up while it's also looking forward. So it gets a good up right there, and then down, obviously you saw. So those 2 working together can be quite strange. So and very unnatural. So the back arm assembly can kind of shimmy up and down like that inside there. And then this ball joint is obviously open and free to move, as well as this one. So you get plenty of articulation, and then you get some in here as well. I am Iron Man. So all in all, what do I think of this figure? I think he is all right. He's got some really cool recolors, plenty of really cool recolors, some nice prints, and a really weird head, and some very strange neck articulation, which can make for some really fun and wacky sorts of looks. So I like him. I definitely recommend him. So yeah, thank you everybody so much for watching, and let me know what you guys think of Tony Stark Iron Man in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video when I go over the entirety of the knockoffs and give my final thoughts. You can kind of like rip the head off, decapitate Tony Stark. I'm sorry.